In my time working in schools, I've met some amazing children, really kind and loving, and they really support one another. Sometimes they can be a bit cruel. I remember once there was a little girl called Emma. Children seemed to find her unattractive. They thought she was a bit silly, and they tended to isolate her. They weren't really interested in being with her, and it was quite unkind at times for her, and a hard time for her. I remember we were putting on a school production, and the star dancer had a fall, and suddenly we found ourselves without anybody to play that role. Emma didn't have a role, and she saw the problem, and I remember she just came forward and she said, "I could do it." And the other children just sort of looked at her as if she was mad, but we had to give her a try because there was nobody else to do it. And so we did. Everybody was amazed as soon as she stepped up onto the stage, because instead of being clumsy or all the things that people seem to think that she was, she suddenly became a beautiful and graceful child. It was amazing. It was like the story of the ugly duckling becoming the beautiful swan, because that's what she was. When Jesus returned to his hometown, which we heard about recently in the Gospel, he comes to preach in Nazareth, and the people at first are amazed at him because he's speaking so eloquently. But then suddenly they become angry, and they say, "Isn't this the man from Nazareth, the carpenter's son?" And their own fear and jealousy and arrogance stops them seeing him for who he is. Instead, they want to get rid of him, and they try to run him out of town. Their fear of being overshadowed and jealousy are emotions that all of us can suffer from. It can stop us from seeing and rejoicing in the gift of another person. I found myself thinking about this, particularly in this time of Lent. We seem to be happier admiring people from a distance because they're not a threat to us. But as Jesus says, no prophet is ever accepted in their own town. So I'm thinking that for Lent and the rest of time that we've got in this season, it might be an opportunity to think about in what ways I ignore those who are gifted and talented, or to think about how do I embrace them, how do I include them, how do I not feel resentful towards them.